time?
Yes.
I, yes.
Yes.
I've been so looking forward to this guest. It's an amazing guest. This young man has so many accolades.
I'm telling you, so
Wife,
many.
you want to get him accolades? So many.
I'll get out of breath giving accolades for this young man. Listen, Stan is right. We have been looking so forward to this interview for a long time, and we are truly honored and grateful to have songwriter, singer, Grammy Award winner. He's also a dad, a husband. He is phenomenally talented. He is one of the best worship leaders ever. Y'all, please welcome
Put your hands together.
Israel Houghton to Spotlight. Yes.
Man, what's going on?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good to be with you tonight. I just appreciate you all calling me a young man. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Hey, like you said, we try to give everybody the flowers and we try to big them up as much as possible. So we some old youngsters ourselves. So we, like you say, you're still a young man and you're doing some amazing things, by the way.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for being a part of our Spotlight family tonight. We, like I said, we are very truly honored and grateful for your time. Isn't that
It's a
right,
pleasure.
honey? Yes.
Yes, definitely.
So let's just get right to it. We've had so many people on our line today once they knew you were going to be on.
Yes, so many questions.
So many questions. We won't be able to get to all of the questions, but here we have someone who has been in the industry for it's about 22 years, right, Israel?
I'm actually celebrating my 31st year in full-time ministry.
Oh my God, I was way.
Wow.
See, I knew it was a lot. 30 some years. Oh my gosh, you must have started at like 3 years old.
New Breed has been together for 21 years. So
okay, so that's what I was talking about. New Breed.
20, yeah, last year. So
got you.
Okay, but you yourself, you have been a worship leader for over 30 years, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know your story. I do, just because, I grew up in the church and I used to sing in the choir. My choir used to be called the EMGs. So shout out to the EMGs. So yeah, I know a lot about, how you got started but I want you to have an opportunity to tell our viewers and listeners here in the DMV, as well as everyone else watching, about your journey. Tell us about your journey a little bit and bring us up to date.
So before we get started, I got to say this. You are super blessed. I've been listening to your backstory. Your backstory alone is a movie, a book.
Documentary.
You are so blessed as an individual, not just to be in your position, but to just even be here. So
yes.
I just want to say, man, your name is big and you are definitely holding up the name. So
yes,
let's get into it.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Well, I got my name because my mother is white. My father was black. My mother got pregnant when she was 17. She was kind of given some ultimatums during that time. Like, her family, specifically her father, was very racist and just could not come to terms with the fact that it was going to be a black baby. And so it was highly suggested she have an abortion and move on with her life. I'm grateful she chose not to. My mother battled a drug addiction, though, while she was pregnant with me. And so when she was 8 months pregnant, the state of California basically said, we're going to take your kid away from you because you're considered an unfit mother because of the drugs in your system. And just shortly after she had been told that, she was walking down the street in Oceanside, California, near the beach, and a lady just came up to her and shared the gospel with her and just said, I don't know you, but I just felt like I needed to come tell you that Jesus loves you. And right there, she had her own little altar call right on the street corner and gave her life to the Lord. She stopped doing drugs that day, which, again, I know is a miracle. I know that's not normal. But a month later, when she was giving birth, there were no drugs in her system. So God came through. So I was raised then by her for a year. She married my stepfather when I was a year old. He's white, so I was literally the black sheep of our family. And I grew up in church. They went into full-time ministry when I was 5 years old. So I grew up as a pastor's kid and experienced, all that comes with that. I was the only black kid in a white family in a Hispanic neighborhood and church growing up. And there were certain things that didn't make sense then, but they certainly make sense now for me.
Wow.
So when I first heard that story, I heard a little bit about it on another one of your interviews. And so what my question was first is, have you spoken or your family had any dealings with the lady since the
That
encounter?
angel. I
That
say she's an angel. She was
that
an
definitely
angel.
was an angel.
Yes. Her name is Charlene. She just turned 80 years old. We stay in touch with her. Her and my mom talk all the time. It's
Wow.
wild even how I was able to find her after 30 plus years of telling that story. And the lady saw me talking about it. I think it was on the 700 Club, like back in 2009.
Right.
And then Joel Osteen used that same story in a message he was preaching. And this lady saw both of those, and she wrote a letter. She's like, "Hey, if it was Oceanside, California, I think I might be the lady that led your mom to the Lord." And we ended up connecting. I got them on video, reconnecting.
Wow.
It was one of the greatest days of my life. And the fact that we still stay in touch with her is pretty awesome.
I think that's amazing. So that was one of the things that came straight to my mind because I thought that was a wonderful intervention, and I felt it was angelic because of the not doing the drugs right after, and so I knew that was a different energy.
Yep.
So I want to ask you this. I don't know if you've heard this question, but how did you first fall in love with God? Because I can tell your energy is really God driven. How did you get that energy?
I guess I first fell in love with God when I didn't know that I was. We were in a service. We had just moved to this little mining town in Arizona, and all of these ex-drug addicts were coming up and giving their testimony of just how God had touched their lives. And I remember being 5 years old and just crying, and like these songs are being sung, and I tell my mom, I'm like, I can't stop crying, And she said, that's the presence of God. Like, you should always pursue that. Yes. And so I think the hook for that was set in my heart at 5, 6 years old. And that hook became an anchor. Like, you know what I mean? Like to all these years later, 40 years later, I'm still connected to Jesus.
Wow.
I think that's a big deal. And it just shows in your energy because I watch you on IG and I watch you just in the public in general, and you always had a certain energy that you exude, and you just show a certain light to the public. And I just kind of saw the God in you. You didn't have to be a God-based person to see certain energy, and so I just appreciate that. And I see it in you and your wife. You guys have a certain energy that's kinetic together, which is great.
I love it. I love it. It gives me goosebumps. Listen, I want to talk about 5 Grammy Awards. Like, how does it feel, to just, do you look at them still?
Yeah, that's a big
deal.
deal.
How does that, that's a huge deal,
And how did you feel when you got that first Grammy?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a very, I kind of want to answer that by saying, I didn't even know as a worship leader that there were categories that were in the Grammys that we were, qualified for. I had no idea. So even when I got the first nomination, I was just like, blown away by that. I remember calling my dad, and my dad going, he was so proud, and it was like, wow, this is kind of cool. But, after winning 6 of them, it's the last one I won, I wasn't even at the ceremony. I realized something about myself. I don't get nervous on any stage. I can speak, I can sing, never nervous. I only get nervous at award shows, and I don't like what I feel at award shows, even though I'm super appreciative of the honor. But, I've always said it this way. I feel like the ultimate job of a worship leader is to be looked through, not looked at. So the idea is to be a lens that ultimately magnifies God and brings people into an encounter with God. Do I appreciate having won those awards? Of course I do. And that's because I know that any given year, thousands of records in our category are put out. And at the end of that year, 5 of those are chosen by, artists and musicians and engineers, et cetera, who vote on that. And out of those 5, 1 is selected. And 6 times that's happened. So I don't take any of that lightly, and I thank God for just one more thing to lay at at the feet of Jesus. But ultimately, you know, the job that is most rewarding for me is watching somebody's life transform, and knowing that worship in some way, shape, or form, or a song that I was honored to be a part of writing in some way affected somebody's life for change, for transformation. So I still consider that the highest trophy. And do I look at them? I don't look at them currently because they're all in storage. We've been in the process of moving into a new place here in New York, so it's been a little bit crazy.
Okay, well,
Gotcha.
I'm telling you, and I stand to be corrected. I heard you say 6. I
Yes.
said 5.
Yeah, so we don't want to shortchange you. We got to give you all of those
Six
Grammys. So
Grammys.
6 Grammys.
I'm sorry, yes, it's been 6.
It
Yeah,
is
six.
6 of
God
them.
be the glory.
Yes,
So-
and not just Grammys, though. I mean, we're going to move on, but you also are a Stella Award winner, and you also have Soul Train Music Award. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. You've
Thank
been doing
you.
it for a long time. And like I said, for me, one of the best or my favorite worship leaders, simply because you cross so many I guess genres or nationalities is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Multicultural worshiping, and you've been able to reach so many different types of people all over the world, and that is something really, really major from my perspective. And I just wanted to say, you are an amazing person for being able to touch so many different people across so many different nationalities. Kudos to you.
Thank
for
you.
that.
I mean, that was very intentional. I even, you know, in this move we just did, I ran across some notebooks of things I wrote visions in 1995 of what New Breed was going to be. And even then, you know, I wrote, we want to be intentionally cross-cultural, cross-generational, and cross-denominational. And I feel like, you know, 25 plus years later, we're still doing just that.
Still doing it.
That's a beautiful thing. Write it down, make it plain. Write it
Yes.
down, make it plain.
Absolutely,
So that's
absolutely.
exactly what you did, and you've accomplished just that. I have a question for you. Have you had any major regrets at all during the?
I'm sorry?
Have you had any major regrets during your career?
I mean, of course, right? Yeah, of course I have. And I think anybody who doesn't, you know, would probably be at the height of arrogance, you know, or
Right.
just tone deafness. But I will say this. I remember being in a conference one time and Bishop Jakes being asked that same question in an interview. They said, if you could go back and change anything, you know, what would you change? Do you have any regrets? So he laughed because the answer is obvious. Of course I have regrets, right? But then he paused and he said, it's important to know, though, that if I would have changed anything, it would have changed everything.
That's big.
And I remember hearing that and it just reverberating in my heart, because I look at it this way. Today in 2021, talking to you guys, I am a combination. I am the sum total of great decisions, bad decisions, triumphs, failures. I'm sitting here and I can honestly look into this camera and say I'm happily married, and I'm in a loving, beautiful relationship with my wife. But I can also tell you that I was previously married in a very tumultuous relationship. So I'm here and can appreciate what God has done in my life the last 5 years, even though there was a lot of hurt and disappointment to others that surrounded that. If I had gone back and changed anything, it would have changed everything. So I wake up every day, regrets and all, and I say, God, I thank you for keeping me. I thank you for teaching me things through, you know, the good and the bad and the ugly. I thank you for the hills and I thank you for the valleys.
Yes.
And ultimately, I thank you that I was given a fresh 24 this morning when I woke up to give God glory, to inspire somebody's life, to encourage somebody, to be both inspirational and aspirational for someone, and to glorify God in everything I do and say. So I certainly relish the opportunity to be here with you to be able to do just that.
Yes.
Well, you're doing a great job, and we appreciate you so much just for the man that you are and the things that you are exuding on this show, and just in general, just as you walk.
For sure.
Before we go, I gotta ask you though, what is one of the most influential artists that you ever had a chance to work with, or not? Just somebody who influenced your career.
Yeah, my mentor, I sort of have a Mount Rushmore of artists, and the most cherished one is Andre Crouch, who mentored me from afar without knowing it, and then mentored me up close when we finally were able to meet and connect. And so yeah, I look at what he was doing some 55 years ago in his career, being cross-cultural, blurring the lines of church and denomination and what is mainstream and what is gospel and what is white and what is black. And so I feel like he put the blueprint together that I still connect to and look for even all these years later doing what I do. So I would definitely have to say, Andre, we never got a chance to like work together. We performed together a few times, but we didn't like actually go into the studio and collaborate, which is, probably one of my, that I'm bummed about that because it was like the ultimate bucket list for me. But yeah, I would have to put Andre Crouch at the very top of that list.
Wow,
Okay.
wow.
So
So
now, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
what is it like? What you and your wife have sang a song together. I think you wrote it down,
I
baby.
love that song
And
too.
it touches us, like it ministers to us. And
Yeah.
like, what is it like to do that with someone that you love? Like to sing that and
Yeah.
to lead worship with someone you love.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable to just, I say this often when I talk about her or post about her, that to be able to truly have a purpose partner in life. I see you guys doing life together and ministering together. And I could just tell, like, it's one thing you see people who are married, it's like it's important to love who you're married to, but it's also very, very important to like who you're married to.
Yeah.
Very
And the
good point.
fact that we like each other and we enjoy singing together and we enjoy creating things together. Our new record, Feels Like Home, that was all her. That was all her driving that
Really?
Wow.
and me just, going with it. And I'm so glad I did. But she is really my purpose partner. So when we sing together, it's beyond singing. It's beyond the music. It's beyond the song. It's hitting that frequency together of like, I know I was meant to be doing this with you. And so yeah, it moves me and ministers to me before it ministers to anybody else.
Well, it does do it for us. And I also want to say that you do give inspiration to those who have gone through divorce. And there is hope after that. There is love after divorce. You do inspire people because you've been very open about your situation. And I just want you to know and give you your flowers while you're still here, because there are people who are embarrassed about divorce and things like that. And I commend you for
Thank you.
for being an example of how it can turn around for the good, and you can still have love after that. So I
Yeah.
commend you for that.
Because it seemed like it definitely prepared you for who you have now.
Yep.
Not just that, but just other ordeals in life have brought you full circle to someone who seems to be loving and fit you perfectly, and vice versa. So congrats
Yes, sir.
again to you guys. We didn't want to make it about your wife, so we waited to the end to say anything about her. But we are definitely fans of her as well. My wife in general loves your wife, so give her our
Thank you.
love as well from Spotlight Over the City, and continue to do what you do, brother. Inspire, do what all you do. Our platform is your platform. Anytime you
Whenever.
have anything that you want to just speak on, or whatever the case is, our door is open, and we thank you, we love you, and appreciate your time.
We do have one more thing though, because we want the update and what's going on new with Israel and New Breed.
Oh, definitely, my fault.
Yeah. So last year, like I said, we celebrated our 20th anniversary, and by celebrating, we did this live stream worship event called Feels Like Home, and it ended up going like beyond anything any of
know.
us imagined.
Yeah.
And so we ended up making it a record. We ended up putting it in 2 volumes. Both of those came out to #1 success, which shocked all of us.
Yes.
And I really feel like I found a niche that I enjoy. And the
Yes.
idea of like being with my New Breed team and like worshiping together, not necessarily being on stage and trying to get others to connect in that way, but like us worshiping together. So we've just done another one, and we're calling it Project LA. And anybody who's interested can go to feelslikehomeconcert.com.
Okay.
And all of the information for the next live stream event we're doing, which is on June 12th, is there. We are very fortunate to have Doe Jones join us again, and to have Chandler Moore from Maverick City Music join us again. So I encourage people to check it out. It's gonna be good.
Super,
Perfect.
super,
We'll post
super
it on our
dope.
website
Yeah,
as
we'll
well.
definitely post that. Just want to say congratulations to all of your, everything that you're doing, everything
a
you've
lot.
done. I don't know how you're not tired yet after 30 some years. How much more you got left in your tank? About what, 30,
You know
20
what?
years?
I feel like in a lot of ways I'm just getting started again, and it
I love
feels
it.
like,
And I just
even
want to
though
tell
it kind of
you,
feels like the halftime of my life, it feels like something beautiful is happening in what I think will be the next 45 years of my life.
I
Well, we're
love
going to
it.
touch and agree. We're going to touch and agree and say, here's to the next 45.
That's right. Make some more magic. My favorite song still, though, is Friend of God. That still hasn't come out anything else before after that has made me say my new favorite. So that's still my favorite, Friend of God. I mean,
Thank
listen.
you very much.
I love it.
Thank you. Let's give it
Thank
up one
you
more
so
time.
Y'all give it up one more time for
Thanks,
Israel
guys.
Houghton.
Wonderful
Yes.
being with you. See you again. Oh, there's Adrienne right there. She's your biggest fan.
Oh my God.
I love you. I love your singing voice so much. You're just so
And you guys are amazing
I really
together.
Yes.
appreciate
You two are
Yes.
amazing.
amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Please make more magic.
God
We're
bless
you.
we're here for it.
All
Y'all
right.
give it up one more
Thank
time.
you. I know.
That was a pleasant surprise, right?
Yes, very pleasant surprise.
All right, we got a wrap. We got our next guest that's
Yep.
going to close us out. This is who I've been waiting on. This young man right here is nothing short of amazing. You guys are going to be in for a heck of a treat. Make sure you go and download these products. I'm going to let you know where you can find them. Do you guys want me up there?
We're going to go to a quick commercial break,
Okay.
and we'll be back with closing out the show with a Grammy-nominated guitarist. You all do not want to miss this.
Yep. We'll be right back. Spotlight over the city.